The night before the wedding, my fiancé Max, with his childhood sweetheart in his arms, asked me for a night of freedom. He said that after tonight, he would be faithful to our marriage until death. I looked at him for a long time, then nodded and agreed. As he passed me, he said magnanimously, "Tonight, you can also go out and find a man. I promise I won't mind at all." "No need to go out," I said silently, walking towards his very best friend. My gaze, heavy with emotion, met his handsome eyes. "Sleep with me tonight? He has a childhood sweetheart. Do you think I don't have a first love?" Before we continue, please subscribe to this podcast and let us know where you're listening from in the comments. The VIP room was filled with many people, including his closest friends and my bridesmaids. After a few rounds of drinks, everyone was a little tipsy. Max suddenly put his arm around Lily, his childhood sweetheart, whom he had grown up with. He said, "Lily, you see, childhood sweethearts really can't beat unexpected love. Wasn't I just snatched away by Luna, this unexpected love? Tomorrow I'm marrying someone else. Don't you feel a little regretful?" Lily's face instantly twisted with a bitter sadness, as if tears could fall at any second. "What good is regret? Who told you to fall in love with her later?" Max looked at Lily's tear-filled eyes in his arms, his expression full of tenderness. "How about we make up for that regret tonight?" Lily looked up. "How do we make up for it?" Then slowly looked over at me. "Wife," he called out loudly. "Tomorrow we'll be husband and wife, and I promise I'll be faithful to our marriage until death, never betraying you. But tonight, the last night before we get married, how about we do something exciting and grant each other a night of freedom?" A chorus of cheers and whistles erupted in the VIP room. My chilling expression brought a sudden, dead silence. Max's ulterior motives were blatantly obvious. He wanted to spend a wild night with the childhood sweetheart he'd been flirting with throughout his youth, to make up for the regret that they had loved but never slept together. He was convinced that I wouldn't flat out refuse him, and that afterward, if he just sweet-talked me a little, I wouldn't hold this against him. The reason for his confidence was simple. Although he had pursued me passionately, purely in terms of family background, I had definitely married above my station. He thought I was not only captivated by him, but also wouldn't dare to give up his wealthy family. After all, for a common girl like me, whose parents were ordinary factory workers, marrying into a prestigious family was incredibly difficult. How lucky it was to have met him. He was right, a common girl being noticed by a rich heir and then facing opposition from his powerful family was something I had experienced deeply before. But not with him. My friends beside me tugged at my sleeve. "Luna, don't be foolish, don't agree." I looked at Max for a long time, seeing the stubbornness and certainty in his eyes. Finally, I nodded, my voice calm. "Okay, I agree." Oh. A burst of laughter and applause erupted. The silent atmosphere in the VIP room immediately dispersed. "Sister-in-law, you're amazing. Truly worthy of marrying into the Hayes family. No wonder Max knelt for 3 days and 3 nights in Dad's study just to marry you. A woman who can marry into our family must possess such poise." Max's slightly tense lips curved into a relaxed smile, and he held his compliant childhood sweetheart even tighter. He stood up, still holding her. "All right, it's getting late. I have a wedding to attend tomorrow, so I can't stay up all night with you guys. Lily and I will head out first. Order whatever drinks you want and have fun, put all expenses on my tab tonight." "Whoa, looks like our little Lily is in for a rough night." Another round of murmurs and cheers rose in the VIP room. As he passed me, to show FAI Reness, he lowered his gaze and said magnanimously, "Wife, if you want, you can also go out and find a man tonight. I promise I won't mind at all." He must have banked on my proud and conservative nature, knowing I wouldn't play around, which is why he said such a thing. I turned to look at him. "Really?" He raised an eyebrow. "Of course, a gentleman's word is his bond. You know I always keep my promises. Just like I said I'd marry you, and I did." His tone was proud, as if marrying me was a great favor he bestowed upon me. So I should be sensible and magnanimous towards him and Lily tonight. I withdrew my gaze and looked towards the man in the corner of the VIP room, who had been stone-faced and silent all evening. "Actually, there's no need to look outside." "What?" Ignoring his expression, I silently stood up and walked to the man's feet. I knelt down, my posture lowered, my eyes pouring out emotion, and looked up to meet his gaze. I carefully invited, "Sleep with me tonight?" The cold-faced man leaned back on the leather sofa, looking down at me, as if he could kick me away in disgust at any second. A sudden scoff came from behind. It was Max's wife, of all people. Why him? He was severely hurt by his first love in his early years and became completely disgusted by women. He hasn't been near a woman in years. Disgusted by women. I pondered those words in my heart. Was it true? My emotions stirred, but I stared at him without blinking. I gazed at the face that had haunted my dreams and kept me from sleeping on countless nights. Since seeing him again, if not for the influence of alcohol tonight, this would be the first time I dared to meet his gaze directly. My fingernails dug into my palms. I wasn't actually sure how he would treat me now, until a cold tip of his leather shoe pressed against my chin. The man's chin lifted even higher, his face growing several shades colder. It was fear-inducing, and with his voice tinged with anger, he asked me, "Are you You're?" I didn't want to back down, and bravely pushed my chin further onto his shoe. "Yes, I am." He suddenly rose from the sofa. Everyone probably thought I had completely infuriated him, and that I would be mercilessly cast aside in the next second. After all, I'd heard that a while ago, a minor celebrity had tried to flirt with him at a party. He apparently found her blocking his way, so he simply waved his arm and pushed her into a fountain. She was drowning and calling for help, but he didn't even spare her a glance, simply striding away. This time, even Max, startled, lunged forward in front of me, spreading his arms to hold Marcus back. Brother, she's my wife, after all. Don't you dare lay a hand on her. She doesn't know your temper. Please bear with her for offending you. Luna, get up now. Didn't I tell you before? This guy is absolutely not to be messed with. He's not interested in women. I know you're not interested in men other than me, so stop trying to act tough in front of me. Go back and rest early with Emma and Sophia. I don't know what Max said wrong, but the man shoved him several steps away with force. His eyes held a dagger-like intensity. Who said I'm not interested in women? At the same moment, my vision blurred as he hoisted me onto his shoulder. His deep voice, mixed with the resentment of digging up old scores, entered my ears. Luna, you came to me yourself. As everyone watched in astonishment, we were about to walk out the door. Seeing me carried on his best friend's shoulder, Max called out from behind, "Marcus, what do you mean by this?" Yes, his name. Marcus. The man's steps halted, he turned his face slightly, his voice ruthless. Exactly what it sounds like. Max's tone was clearly urgent. Are you serious? This is my wife. Calling me wife repeatedly all night, did the word wife still sound a little jarring to him? Marcus turned back and gave Max a deep look, as if disdaining to say another word to him. He turned his head and carried me out the door. Max looked genuinely frantic, chasing after us and grabbing Marcus's arm. Marcus, we've been childhood friends since we were kids. His gaze shifted to me, draped over Marcus's shoulder. A friend's wife is off limits, you understand? Marcus showed no intention of putting me down. After shaking off Max's hand, he firmly pushed down on his shoulder. He pressed Max against Lily, who had also followed to the doorway, pinning him against the wall perfectly, so they almost kissed. The man's voice was chilling. Good that you understand. A good night like this is rare, take care of your own business. I was already feeling dizzy from the alcohol. Now, hanging upside down on Marcus's back, my head felt even dizzier. Wanting him to put me down, I softly called his name. Marcus. But I only received his cold retort, don't call out like that. Are we close? I bit my tongue and swallowed the rest of my plea to be put down. Just dizziness, I could endure it. After all, I owed him. Max, not far away, was still being persistent, looking like he was about to chase after us. Marcus, if you dare to mess with her, I swear I'll make you pay. But he was held back by other friends around him. Max. You know, Marcus has been extremely intense since he returned from abroad. Don't provoke him. You quoted such a low price for the multi-billion-dollar project, and he didn't say a word because of your close friendship. He must secretly resent you somewhat. Everyone knows you care about your fiancé, so he's probably just messing with you tonight, intentionally annoying you. Who knows, he might just ditch her as soon as you get downstairs. Don't you know how many years he's been single and without a woman by his side? We used to tease him behind his back, giving him a nickname, remember? The monk. He glares at everyone, avoids women, runs away from any female. You were the one who started that nickname. Relax. He only has eyes for the wildcat, his first love who abandoned him. There's no way he'd touch your fiancé. Max didn't follow, and Marcus and I had already moved far away. Only before entering the elevator did I hear the sarcastic remarks from my two beautiful bridesmaids directed at Max. Their tone was dripping with sarcasm. Oh, can't handle it now? Grant each other a night of freedom, a gentleman's word is his bond. You can also go find a man, I promise I won't mind at all. Is single and free tonight. You know, in the VIP parking on the first floor, Marcus did indeed dump me. He threw me into the passenger seat of his luxury car. The black Pagani sped off into the dark night. At a villa of extraordinary style. I didn't recognize it and had never been there before. The moment we entered, he stripped off my coat and powerfully gripped the back of my neck. A kiss, full of resentment and ferocity, landed on my lips. I cried out in pain and pushed him. Marcus. But my waist was gripped tightly, pinning me against the wall so I couldn't move an inch. His tone was harsh. Didn't you want to sleep with me? Why are you resisting? I couldn't argue, so I could only plead, a little gentler. In an instant, he threw me onto the bed. He had no intention of being gentle. Can't be gentle. Clothes flew onto the floor one by one. He was ferocious, completely without pity. Until he realized I was still untouched, he suddenly froze. That handsome face, which had been cold, ruthless, and full of resentment and anger, finally softened a little. You never slept with Max? After so many years apart, how was I supposed to explain my current situation to him? I bit my lip repeatedly, then gave a perfunctory answer. I hadn't gotten around to it yet. A couple about to get married tomorrow, yet they hadn't slept together. In modern society, who would believe that? Who could even do that? For me, of course, there was a reason. The reason was, strictly speaking, Max and I had never actually dated. We had completely skipped that stage, leaping straight to the end, marriage. Of course, this didn't mean he didn't genuinely want to marry me, or that I didn't genuinely want to get along with him and spend the rest of my life with him. It was just that after tonight, everything would probably change. Marcus's dark brows furrowed. He stared at me for a long time, clearly finding it unbelievable. That and I hadn't had a physical relationship. Yet, with the facts before him, he had no choice but to believe that I truly hadn't been with any other man. The icy coldness in those handsome eyes gradually receded, replaced by a subtle flush of red, as if years of suppressed grievance and deep affection were finally willing to show me a tiny glimpse. Finally, with a sigh of resignation, as if letting down his guard, he pulled me into his arms. On the corner of my lip that he had so mercilessly bitten earlier, he placed a kiss. He rolled over, holding me, pressing my head into his shoulder and neck. His lips brushed my ear. I heard his hot breath whisper, "Luna, I still love you." After that sentence, his kisses became tender and lingering. Gentle. My eyes were tearful, and the ceiling lamp above spun and blurred before me. It was past midnight, and my phone suddenly vibrated incessantly. The melodious ringtone, usually pleasant, now sounded annoyingly loud, disturbing the man's focused attention. It was my phone. It was Max. Who had time to deal with him at a moment like this? I intended to swipe to dismiss it, but my unsteady finger accidentally hit the answer button. Immediately, Max's noticeably unstable voice came through the phone. "Wife, why aren't you home? Where did Marcus ditch you? We're not playing this stupid pre-wedding freedom game anymore. I thought about it, and it's so boring, and Lily is just a slut. She can't even compare to a single strand of your hair. Where are you? I'm coming to pick you up." I regret it so much now, making such a ridiculous suggestion. In the VIP room. Before I could speak, Marcus took the phone directly. His tone was arrogant. "Regret it? Too late. She can't go home with you, because she's in my bed right now." "What? Marcus?" Beep, the phone was hung up and turned off by Marcus, then casually tossed far away. Max had provoked him, but I was the one who suffered the consequences. He carried me from the head of the bed to the foot. He bit my ear. Again. Seconds and minutes passed relentlessly. I longed and longed and longed, but no moment of rest ever came. The dark night finally passed completely, and daylight broke through brightly. Even the drawn curtains couldn't block out the bright radiance. Today was the day Max and I were supposed to get married. At this very moment, I should be getting ready and rushing home, changing into my wedding gown, sitting in front of the vanity mirror, having the makeup artist create a beautiful bridal makeup look for me, quietly and expectantly waiting for Max to come pick me up with a long wedding motorcade. Marcus, of course, knew all of this. This man, who had toiled tirelessly all night, found the aggressiveness that had receded from him slowly returning as the sky grew brighter. He refused to let me go. He wouldn't stop. Pleading was useless, begging was useless, sweet-talking was useless. He simply used his beautiful, bloodshot eyes to relentlessly press me. "Don't marry him, promise me, promise me. Luna, don't marry him, promise me." I really wanted to agree, if only he'd pause for a moment to let me catch my breath. I couldn't even form a complete word right now. After a long silence without my answer, the man seemed to despair, suddenly collapsing onto me as if losing all weight. He held me incredibly tight, his voice laced with a hint of pleading. Luna, don't marry him, please. It was so difficult, but finally, there was a small window for me to respond. Okay, I rasped, my voice completely hoarse. He immediately propped himself up, gazing at me intensely. You agreed? I nodded vigorously. If I didn't agree, would he let me go marry his best friend? Besides, after seeing what a rotten man Max was, would I be a fool to still go marry him? His apple bobbed, his lips moved slightly, as if he deliberated for a moment before blurting out, if I were to tell you right now that I want you to get back together with me, would you? I was aching all over, truly torn between laughter and tears. I could only weakly pound his chest with my tiny fists. Marcus, you've kept me up all night, I haven't had a minute's rest. And now you're asking me if I'm willing. His brows suddenly relaxed. So you are willing? I could only answer him with another vigorous nod. A loud kiss landed on the corner of my lips. He pulled me into a sitting position. Luna, come with me somewhere. Where? You'll know when we get there. I shook my head and fell back onto the bed. No, another day. I'm too tired, I can't move an inch. His tone was firm. No, today, right now. It's okay if you can't move. I'll carry you, or piggyback you. As he spoke, he was already hurriedly dressing me. I felt completely overwhelmed. I was so dirty. We had been at it all night. Marcus. My body. Don't put these on. At least let me take a quick shower. He seemed very anxious. It's fine, no one else will know. We can shower when we get back. Just throw these clothes away and buy new ones. And so, a disheveled couple who had spent an unrestrained night, each loosely covered, brazenly walked out the door. Marcus carried me out of the villa and into the passenger seat. He drove steadily and quickly. When we got in the car, I saw him checking my handbag, I wasn't sure why. We had barely driven 2 minutes from the villa when he reminded me. Luna, turn on your phone and tell your family the wedding is cancelled, so they don't make a wasted trip to the venue. Oh, right. It was only then that I reacted, he had truly nearly driven me to idiocy. Ignore Eng's countless messages and calls. I first contacted my parents. By the time I finished contacting my relatives and friends, we had arrived at the destination Marcus wanted to take me to. I glanced over this. On the bright red archway sign, 4 large characters were emblazoned, marriage registration. The office? This man must be insane, completely out of his mind. I stared at him, utterly astonished, but he just chuckled softly. Then he turned off the car and carried me down. We sat on the waiting bench outside the registry office. They weren't even open yet. He had rushed me here so frantically that he hadn't even bothered to tidy us both up. He wrapped one arm around me, and with the other hand, he took both of mine. Feeling his emotions finally settle a little, he said, Luna, it's been 7 years since we broke up. 7 years of missed time, don't you think that's a very long time? I really can't wait another second. If you're willing, let's just get married right now. Okay? Why wouldn't I be willing? My first love had waited 7 years for me, and I had never truly let him go. Now that we could finally be together, why would I refuse? But then I remembered the scene years ago when his mother had forcibly summoned me to meet her. Marcus and I? Getting married just like that? What kind of family did he come from? One that consistently ranked high on the national rich list. How could our marriage be so easy? So I couldn't help but ask, your family? Luna, he interrupted me. He looked earnestly into my eyes. When a man and woman love each other, want to be together, and want to be together forever, and want to get a certificate to protect that relationship, I don't believe it's absolutely necessary to get our elders' consent. They have their own ideas, but you and I are adults. Getting married is just between the two of us. Of course, regarding your parents, I'll go to your aunt and uncle myself to apologize, taking any scolding, cursing, or punishment until they agree to have me as their son-in-law. But on my family's side, Marcus exhaled deeply. It was just as difficult to deal with his family, both in the past and now. His gaze hardened with a hint of sharpness. Luna, I'm only going to say one thing to you. If you ever dare to retreat, escape, or leave me again like you did 7 years ago, you're dead. I quickly leaned my head into his embrace, comforting him. I won't run, I won't back down again. I'll listen to everything you say. By the time the registry office staff started work, several more couples had lined up behind Marcus and me. As he skillfully took my documents from my handbag, I remembered him furtively rummaging through my handbag before we left the villa. He was checking if my documents were there. Of course, we were the first couple to register for marriage today. The two of us, having not slept a wink all night, inevitably sported big dark circles under our eyes. We should have been listless, but in the photo with a red background on our marriage certificate, we were grinning like a pair of happy fools. It was clear we were marrying by choice, extremely willingly. An authoritative stamp was pressed onto a corner of the photo, and we each received a copy. As I took the marriage certificate, my hands were trembling with excitement, and so were his. I was married, to my first love. He swept me into his arms and planted a loud kiss on my cheek. As we walked out of the registry office, he leaned close to my ear, his breath heavy, and whispered, "Wife." I was too shy to look at him, covering my face with my hands. But I couldn't hide my wide smile, and I responded, "Husband." My phone being off was truly peaceful. On the way back to the villa, he took me to quickly buy 2 outfits. The moment we entered, he stripped off my clothes again, this time throwing everything into the trash. Then he carried me to the bathroom, where we washed and played. Afterwards, I changed into my new pajamas and lined on the plush sofa, watching him in the kitchen making me a belated breakfast. Shrimp omelette, one of my favorite foods when we were together before. He still remembered. He brought it over to the sofa area and fed me bite by bite. Some things were troublesome, but they still needed to be dealt with, to be faced. After washing up and eating a bit, we both felt much more refreshed. Marcus turned on his phone first. The moment it turned on, it was bombarded with calls. He answered. The first to call was a mutual friend of his and Max's. "Oh my God. Marcus, you finally turned on your phone. Where are you? You're not really with Luna, are you? Don't you know Max has gone mad? He's been speeding around looking for you since last night. He's turned over more than 10 of your residences in the city. Today is Max's big wedding day, and neither you nor the bride can be found or contacted. All the groom's guests have arrived, but not a single person from the bride's side has shown up. The trending topics online are already blowing up, saying Mr. Hayes' wedding, bride away. Now the whole internet is laughing at the Hayes family, and Max is currently speeding towards your villa on Park Lane." I held my breath, but Marcus remained calm. "I'm here on Park Lane. Let him come." He hung up the phone, placed the eaten bowls and chopsticks on the coffee table, and took both of my hands. "Wife, go change your clothes. After we're done with Max, I'll go with you to your parents' place to see your aunt and uncle and explain the situation, so they don't worry at home." I nodded. "Okay." We had just finished changing when Max was already pounding on the front door. Marcus pressed the electronic remote button, letting him in. Max was disheveled and also had big dark circles under his eyes, which were bloodshot from frustration. The dark stubble on his chin made him look less like a young groom and more like a scruffy, down-on-his-luck old man. The moment he entered, the fury on his face okayed like it could set the villa ablaze. First, he glared furiously at Marcus in front of him, then he saw me behind Marcus. He took several deep, gasping breaths, as if swallowing shattered teeth. Ignoring, he controlled his emotions and said to me softly, "Wife, we're getting married today, did you forget? Come on, it's not too late. Let's go get married." As he spoke, he reached out to take my hand. Marcus slapped his hand away. "Max, don't call her your wife if you haven't had a wedding or registered your marriage. She's not your wife." Max roared. "Aren't we going to have the wedding right now?" Their gazes locked in a silent battle, and Marcus's expression grew even more serious. I said from behind him, "Max, I agreed to your proposal of a night of freedom before the wedding last night, but I didn't agree to still marry you today. I'm sorry, we both became single again last night. I can't marry you." After hearing my refusal, Max gritted his teeth and asked Marcus, word by word, "Did you touch her last night?" Marcus countered calmly, "What do you think?" Before I could react, a punch landed. Marcus stumbled from Max's blow. "You slept with my wife. You son of a b*************. Marcus shielded me with one arm, then once steady, he mercilessly landed a punch on Max's face. Max stumbled backward into the shoe rack by the door. Marcus turned back, grabbed a marriage certificate, and seized Max's collar, forcing him to look closely. "Luna. She is my wife now. Try calling her your wife again, I dare you." Max was completely stunned. He tremblingly reached for the marriage certificate. Looking at our photos on it, a pair of happily foolish faces unable to hide their smiles, and the incredibly fresh registration date beside the picture, he seemed to finally find a point to attack, and he grabbed Marcus's collar. He looked at Marcus, then at me, then back at Marcus, asking furiously and disbelievingly, "When did you two get together? Did you two get together behind my back a long time ago?" Another punch landed on Marcus's face. Marcus, I treated you like my best brother, and you backstab me like this? You slept with my woman, stealing my partner. I hadn't even dared to touch her, and you actually dragged her to register for marriage on our wedding day. I'll fight you to the death. You ungrateful bastard, who's your woman? She's mine. Mine. They began to wrestle. I had no choice but to interfere unfairly, only restraining Max and not Marcus. As they fought, perhaps because I was interfering unfairly and Max was truly getting a beating, his perpetually cursing mouth actually began to sound tearful. You call me a bastard? You're the bastard, Marcus. We had the best relationship, and you do this to me. Do you know how much effort I put into pursuing her? I chased her for a whole year. I spent tens of millions and still couldn't win her over. Boo-hoo. I knelt in Dad's study for 3 days and 3 nights, enduring 3 days of family punishment until I was bruised and battered, before Dad finally agreed to our marriage and let me decide. He pointed at me pitifully. That's when she believed my sincerity. Boo-hoo. She wouldn't even let me touch her, said we should take it slow. Boo-hoo. And now you get everything for free, wah. Even though my parents thought she was a bookish scholar, useless to the family business, and didn't approve of me marrying her, do you know how proud I was to marry a highly educated female academic, a tall, beautiful female research doctor? Boo-hoo. I was so smug in front of all my friends, they were all so envious of me, saying I was so much better off than those who could only marry rich girls who just shopped, got beauty treatments, and plastic surgery. Boo-hoo. Why did you have to steal her from me? Don't you love the first love who abandoned you? Go find your first love. Don't steal my partner, Marcus. Give her back to me. Give her back. Boo-hoo. The fight couldn't continue. Max was now a complete mess, crying his eyes out. He was sprawled on the floor, throwing a tantrum. Perhaps I still didn't understand Max enough. I truly never imagined he had this side to him. Thinking about his passionate pursuit of me for an entire year, it actually brought a lot of sunshine into my dull research life. Honestly, I was touched by him. Many times I stopped thinking of Marcus's name, believing I could finally let go of that distant first love. Perhaps I should cherish this second ardent love in my life, miss this, and I might truly end up alone forever. But I didn't love Max, this rich young master, enough, nor did I have the energy for a casual relationship. Yet, I was genuinely willing to try with him, on the premise of marriage, a serious relationship. So one day, when he was again blocking the entrance of the research institute, waiting for me to get off work, I asked him, "Are you just looking for a casual relationship with me? You know I'm very busy with research every day. I genuinely don't have time for a casual relationship. So if I agree to you, will we get married?" He might have misunderstood, thinking I wanted to marry him immediately. After dropping me off at my residence, he solemnly promised me, "Give me 3 days, and I'll give you a definite answer. Wait for me." And that's when he knelt for 3 days and 3 nights in Dad's study, enduring family punishment, just to plead with his father about marrying me. When he returned to me, his bones aching from kneeling, his entire body bruised and battered from his father's beating, he said with a chuckle, "My parents have agreed to our marriage. If you're willing, we can get married immediately. Luna, I've sacrificed half my life for this, you can't refuse me anymore." Seeing him like that, how could I possibly say no? I could only nod and agree. Suddenly jumping to marriage, the pace was probably too fast, and I felt genuinely uneasy. So when he first suggested staying over at my place, I refused. Edition. Later, when appropriate opportunities arose, he suggested I spend the night at his place, and again I refused. After that, he never brought up such requests again, simply pushing for us to get married as soon as possible. It's okay about that, I'm not in a hurry. We'll be married soon, so let's save that beautiful moment for our wedding night. Thinking about it actually makes him more excited. It wasn't until Lily, his childhood sweetheart, found out Max and I were about to marry and came to make a scene with me. That's when I learned he had actually been dating Lily before. He had fallen for someone else, first breaking up with his childhood sweetheart girlfriend, and then aggressively pursued me. I didn't think there was a big problem. He fell in love with me, no longer loved his childhood sweetheart, broke up with her, and then pursued me and got together with me. The process seemed correct. So I didn't pay too much attention to him and Lily, even though she often appeared in front of him. When did things start to feel wrong? After he had met my parents, and after both sets of parents had formally met because their children were getting married. My parents were both ordinary factory workers. They weren't highly educated and hadn't seen much of the world. In front of a wealthy family like the Hayes, with hundreds of millions in assets, they inevitably seemed unsophisticated and spoke hesitantly. Their hands, calloused from years of labor, couldn't even be extended to shake hands with their in-laws. They poured everything they had, risking financial ruin, but still couldn't produce a single decent dowry for me. I gradually noticed a change in Max's attitude towards me. He used to be so submissive and eager to please, going to great lengths to win my favor. But, without me realizing it, his demeanor became arrogant and superior. I didn't pay much attention at first, because I was no longer the person I was 7 years ago. I didn't feel I was beneath this idle rich young man from the Hayes family, who spent all his time doing nothing. Of course, as long as he truly loved me and was loyal to our relationship, and his family had endless money, a bit idle was fine. No one stipulated that a person had to strive for anything in life. But if we were talking about compatibility, I was a distinguished female PhD from a research institute, a highly educated and accomplished female scholar. My future was destined to benefit society and its people. One could say I had a limitless future. Why on earth would I be inferior to an uneducated rich kid who was born with a silver spoon, couldn't even spell, whose diplomas and certificates were all bought, and who was wasteful and extravagant all day long? Who was really beneath whom? If he truly looked down on me, I looked down on him even more. I thought he understood the balance between knowledge and wealth that existed between us. But to my surprise, after he saw my humble background, he actually thought I had married above my station and that meeting him was me hitting the jackpot. He believed I should be more submissive, try to hold on to him, and appease him. He even started exchanging flirtatious glances with his childhood sweetheart, for whom he still had lingering feelings. Marcus's reappearance had left me flustered and distracted, and before I could make Max see sense, our wedding date was upon us. The night before the wedding, his actions and words made it clear, he didn't deserve me. He wasn't good enough for me. It also rekindled my courage, a desire to reclaim that distant first love, which had never truly left the softest part of my heart. Watching throwing a tantrum, rolling on the ground and crying, Marcus seemed unfazed. I supposed he knew Max better than I did. Their bond as childhood friends wasn't just an empty saying. It was just that in our youth, Marcus and I had a secret relationship, and he never introduced me to his friends or family. It wasn't until he returned from abroad recently that we, the three of us, became aware of each other's existence and our past entanglements. Back then, Marcus would always tell me, "Luna, just give me a little time. I'm absolutely serious about you, it's just my family. I don't have a say at home right now. Can you give me some time, wait for me, okay?" I nodded earnestly. Okay. I believed him. He was a young man whose diving skills were average, yet he repeatedly disregarded the danger to his life, diving into the deep sea to collect 108 rare pearls for me. That was the number of my birthday. He used those pearls to create a set of precious and magnificent jewelry, which he presented to me as my birthday gift. He deserved my wholehearted trust. I knew he came from a wealthy family, one with some influence. But I had no idea their wealth was so exaggerated, or that their influence was so immense. Until I was walking down the street and forcibly pulled into a car by several men in black, then brought into a quiet VIP room. An extraordinarily elegant lady sat inside. After she expressed her intentions, she pushed a $1 million check towards me. I was so ashamed, I didn't even have the courage to look up at her, but I wouldn't take the money, so I gently pushed it back. I heard a faint scoff from her. "The young lady has quite an appetite." Then, that $1 million check transformed into 10 million and was pushed back to me. Her tone was very light, almost gentle. "I can add more if that's not enough. To our family, this is merely a month or two of pocket money. But you must break up with my son and permanently exit his life. He has a fiancée, didn't he tell you? They would marry right after graduation, and his fiancée's dowry was no less than 10 billion. What do you have?" In that moment, my entire worldview and values crumbled. Forget the number billion, just the $10 million check she was offering me as charity. Most ordinary people would and see that much money in several lifetimes, let alone earn it. And my boyfriend's mother, Marcus's mother, was casually using such a sum to dismiss the poor girlfriend her son was secretly seeing. My parents' combined monthly income was less than 10,000 yuan, and I was just an ordinary female student from such a family. Every number she uttered was terrifying. I felt like an ugly duckling, setting my sights on Marcus, an unattainable prize. This was no longer a question of whether we loved each other, it was that I truly didn't deserve him. We were worlds apart, separated by an immense distance. One must not lack self-awareness. I fled in dismay, agreeing to all her demands. I didn't take the money. That amount genuinely terrified me at that moment. Later, Marcus didn't marry that so-called fiancée. For some reason, his family sent him abroad. They used their connections to restrict his entry and his return to the country. This restriction lasted for 6 long years. During that time, I studied desperately, took graduate school entrance exams, and pursued a combined master's and PhD program. I couldn't allow myself to stop for a second. I was so deeply insecure. I was an ugly duckling who dared to fall deeply in love with the prince who lived in a heavenly palace. I worked, wanting to make this little frog stuck in the mud at least not look so ugly and repulsive. Then, with age, mental maturity, and continuous academic advancement, I gradually regained my confidence and understood something important. Whether it was facing Marcus or later Max, I didn't need to be insecure, nor did I need to degrade myself. Because love is equal. He loves me, wants to be with me forever. I love him, want to be with him forever. That's all there is to it. If any obstacles arise in the process, we just face them together. That is the most correct and best way to handle it. Marcus rolled up his sleeves and kicked Max twice. More on the butt. You chased her so hard, why didn't you cherish her? You were so proud when you got her, why didn't you cherish her? The night before your big wedding, you still wanted to fool around with your ex-girlfriend. You deserve it if your wife-to-be is snatched away. Max sat up from the ground, wiped a tear, and retorted, was I doing it on purpose? Lily and I have been close since childhood, how could I have absolutely no feelings for her? I was just confused for a moment. I was drunk and acting foolishly when I made that bullshit suggestion, boo-hoo-hoo. Marcus, even so, can you just come and steal your best friend's partner? Don't you feel guilty? I'm telling you. From today on, we're broken up. I'll remember this grudge, and I declare us irreconcilable enemies. Marcus smoothed down his disheveled hair and let out a breath. Irreconcilable enemies? Are you saying the Hayes family no longer wants the multi-billion-dollar project? You should know I'm in charge of that project now, right? If I cut you guys out and let that project fall through for your family, do you think your dad, with his hot temper, might get so angry he'd break both your legs? Max clenched his fists tightly. Are you threatening me? Marcus replied lightly, yes, I am threatening you. So, what are you going to do about it? Max glared at Marcus, too angry to utter a single word. Marcus pulled me into his embrace and nudged Max's knee with the tip of his shoe. If you're going to comply, call her sister-in-law. From now on, show proper respect when you see her, and keep 10 paces away. Max's eyes were blazing red, and he gritted his teeth, glaring at Marcus for a full minute. Suddenly, he covered his head with his hands and burst into loud sobs again. Should I say a few comforting words to him? My lips twitched, but I truly didn't know what to say. So I turned to Marcus for help. What should we do? Without a word, Marcus grabbed Max by his feet and dragged him towards the door. Your sister-in-law and I just got our marriage certificate this morning, and we're being lovey-dovey. What are you doing here being a third wheel? Now get out. Go back, dismiss the guests, take down the trending topic, and explain properly to your parents. Tell them I'll come to apologize in person in a few days. Max's cries grew even more pitiful. Boo-hoo-hoo, damn you. Marcus, I'll never forgive you. You beast and scum. You're playing with your best friend like a toy. Why did I ever meet you? Max was finally thrown out the front door by Marcus. Stop whining. Just to correct you, I wasn't stealing your partner. You stole my partner and didn't even cherish her properly. I'm just speechless with you, and I'm just taking her back. Max stood up and grumbled, what do you mean? Marcus took my hand. Let me reintroduce you. Luna, my first love, the reason I was restricted abroad for 6 years and couldn't return to the country. The reason I was drowning my sorrows in alcohol, suffering from alcohol poisoning and being sent to the hospital multiple times. The reason you went abroad to see me. The name I never dared to mention to you, afraid you'd bother her behind my back, afraid my mother would continue to harass her. This person right in front of you, Luna, is the only woman I, Marcus, have ever loved in this life. And now, she's my wife. So from now on, you'd better put away any thoughts you have about her. Don't harbor even a single improper thought. You know I'm the only son of the Vance family and will gradually take full control. I truly don't want to destroy completely my childhood friend, you, and the Hayes family. 5 years later. It was our daughter Honey's 2nd birthday. The birthday celebration was held at the Vance family estate. Before the party began, Grandma held Honey in her embrace, her eyes full of loving affection. She placed a crown worth $200 million on Honey's head. The family's lit. Lou Princess is born to enjoy a life of comfort. Grandma's darling honey, happy birthday. Grandma loves you. Honey hugged Grandma. Thank you, Grandma. Grandma, I love you too. A moment later, Grandma glanced a few steps away, where Marcus was kneeling on the ground, carefully and gently adjusting my shoes and socks. Her expression fell. She pulled out a deed and said to Honey, Grandma doesn't know what's wrong lately, but I get dizzy whenever I see water, it's quite bothersome. This overseas estate, tens of thousands of square meters, has half of its area dedicated to water features. It's been under my name for so many years, and Grandma doesn't want it at all. But your daddy loves diving and playing in the water so much, and Grandma's little golden grandchild, the family's little prince, will surely love it too. She dismissively tucked the deed into Honey's hand. Go on, she said. Take this to your mommy, and let her take your little brother to play there. The estate had an excellent location and environment. It was said to have cost nearly $20 billion when purchased, and it was Grandma's most valuable dowry. Our daughter Honey's tender voice asked, My little brother? Where is he? Seeing that my mother-in-law was still putting on an act of feigned dislike towards me, Marcus and I exchanged helpless smiles. He pulled Honey into his embrace and tapped her little nose. He placed her small hand on my belly. Right here. Perhaps because I hadn't accepted the $10 million she offered 7 years ago, she started to see me in a new light. Or perhaps it was because my status now was different from the past. I had become a national pillar of the research institute. And in the second year after our marriage, I had already made significant contributions to society. Marcus's parents' opposition to our marriage was not as strong as I had imagined. Currently, the stage we were slowly entering was one of family harmony and joy. Thanks for watching today's story. If you like this video, please like and share with friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your views, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.